What is going on, everyone, and welcome to r/OlderThanYouThinkIAm. If you are new to this subreddit and you've not seen one of my videos on it before, it pretty much just does what it says on the tin. It's a collection of stories about mistaken age, nothing more, nothing less. It's very simple, very enjoyable. Let's get straight into the first story. I'm going to visit my husband, not running away from home. I'm currently 24 years old, and I could probably easily pass for anywhere between 15 to 19, depending on my clothes, hair, and makeup. When this happened, I was 20. My husband and I met online while we were both in the military. I was stationed in San Diego, and he was stationed in 3 hours away, 29 Palms, which is about 30 to 45 minutes from Palm Springs. All three of those are in California for anyone who may not be familiar with the area. We got married, but weren't able to live together unless we wanted to live in between our bases and each drive 1.5 hours one way to work. So we each stayed in our own apartments in our respective cities and just visited each other whenever we got the chance. I didn't have a car. I took the bus and trolley to work. When I went to see him on the weekend that it was my turn to visit him, I would take the train. So one Friday, I get off work and call an Uber, taxi, to take me to the train station. I brought my backpack with my clothes for the weekend to work with me, so that I didn't have to go home first, but I could just go straight to the train station. The Uber driver said, "You have a backpack and are going to the train station. Are you running away from home or something?" "No, I'm going to see my husband for the weekend." "Husband? They let you get married really young here." He was foreign, I think maybe Middle Eastern. "I mean, not really. I'm old enough to be in the military." "Wait, how old are you?" 20. "I honestly thought you were 12. People usually think I'm way younger than I am, but that's definitely the youngest I've ever gotten." Alright guys, let's talk fractions here, you know? I'm a bit of a mathematician myself, so let's delve into the numbers here. 12, yeah, as a percentage of 20 is 60%. Therefore, this driver is thinking that you are 60% of your actual age. That's like saying to a 40-year-old that they look 18, you know? Have I got the maths right there? Someone correct me in the comments, 16 or 18, one of the two. Pretty mad, nonetheless, it is my overall point. To be thought of that you are pretty much half the age that you really are. I've never seen someone that is 20 that looks anywhere near to 12. I mean, 15, 16 maybe, but 12? That's just an insult at that point. I mean, come on. That's a madness. Now moving on to our second story. Kiosk employee mistakes my friend for a predator. I'm 19, he's 21. So I, a 19-year-old female-to-male guy, was hanging out with a couple of friends at one of their apartments. We were all drinking and just having a good time with each other. Around 3 a.m, it was just me, Sam, my 21-year-old male friend, and another guy who was still awake, as everyone else had gotten tired and gone to bed. Sam and the other guy were both hungry, so me and Sam volunteered to walk to a kiosk nearby for some grub. I didn't want anything myself, but I felt like getting some fresh air. When we got to the kiosk, I just kinda walked around aimlessly while Sam went for some snacks first. I noticed that the kiosk employee at the register, who was the only employee there at the moment, was staring at me and Sam. I figured he was probably watching us to make sure we weren't stealing. When we walked up to the counter, however, the employee was looking at us really strangely, furrowing his eyebrows like he was suspecting us of something. When he looked at Sam, he looked sort of angry, and when he looked at me, he seemed more concerned. We paid for our stuff, and just as we were about to leave, the kiosk employee stopped us. This is the conversation that followed. "Wait, you?" "Yeah," I reply. "Can I ask how old you are?" I found that strange that he would ask me this, because I wasn't trying to buy anything age-restricted. Yeah, I'm 19. Without missing a beat, the kiosk employee said, "Oh, alright, sorry, I just had to ask because I didn't think you were more than 14. I was honestly a bit offended. I know I look young, but really? 14? I just sort of reassured him quietly and then we left. And that's it. Lol. Sorry it's not the most exciting story, well I still enjoyed it. See, stories like this, in my opinion, guys, are not as bad. You know, they're not as embarrassing for the person who got someone's age so badly wrong. I mean, in any case, getting your age wrong by 6 years, 20 to 14, is better than the first story, 20 to 12, 8 years. But yeah, I mean, this kiosk employee, look, he was just looking out for you. He was worried that something strange and illegal was going on. So I can't really blame him for that, you know, just doing his job. Not even his job, you know, just, you know, being careful for the general population and for you. So yeah, rather than being insulted, I mean, it is a bit insulting to be called 14 when you're 20. I do understand that. However, see it as a compliment and see it as someone that is just, looking out for general people and making sure that some weird stuff is not going on. Now moving on to our third story. You really think you'd get away with that outfit? So this happened last year when I was 23. I needed to go and get a copy of my high school transcript as my university had somehow misplaced mine. I'm short and small. It was much easier for me to just physically go to the school than wait for it in the mail. I showed up just before school started, and there's high schoolers all loitering around waiting to be let inside. My high school won't let you inside without a teacher's note for before school tutorials or band students. It was hot outside, like 90 plus degrees, so I was in a tank top where you could see my bra straps, scandalous, and probably the shortest denim shorts I own. None of this is within the school's dress code, by the way. So I walk into the school to head to the front office, and this coach, acting as hall monitor pretty much, steps in front of me, stops me, and goes, "Did you really think you could break the dress code so blatantly? You really think you'd get away with that outfit?" I looked right at him and began to just walk around him and said, "Well, seeing as I graduated almost 6 years ago from the school, yeah, I do expect to get away with wearing this outfit. I'm here for business with the school, not to go to school," as I avoided his other attempts to stop me. That particular coach was always a little power hungry when I did go to school here. Wow, I'm not going to lie, that one feels a little bit premature. I wanted to know what was going to happen after that, OP. You've left me hanging there, which is not very nice. I've got to say, I wanted to know, was this guy going to carry on stopping you even though it's pretty clear that you are actually older and you're not a student there anymore? Was he really embarrassed? Did he just, slink off without saying anything? Or did he, be a man and apologize? I wanted to know, but unfortunately we weren't given that information. So I'm going to leave up to you guys to think about what might have happened. Comment down below, what do you reckon might have happened? The way this guy was acting, the way OP has, explained what this guy was like back when she did go to school. How do you think he reacted? I want to know. Let me know in the comments down below. And yeah, I'll heart the best answers. Now for our final post. Female guard confused me for a senior high schooler. This happened last year, so still no COVID-19. A little background to my story. So just recently, our country proposed a new educational program, which basically added more time for you to go to school. Before, we didn't have junior high and senior high, just elementary, high school, then college. But now, after elementary, you have to enter junior high school and senior high school. After the government applied that program, our university too also offered junior high JHS and senior high SHS services. So instead of only college students present, our university also now accommodates junior high and senior high services. Enough about that though, and on to the story. There is a rule in our university that junior high and senior high students cannot go outside the campus before 11 AM, and in the afternoon they also cannot exit before 3:50 PM. But as a college student, I am free to go in and out whenever I like, assuming I don't have class at that time. So it was a Wednesday, and every Wednesday is wash day. This is important, since the only thing that distinguishes a senior high student and a college student is the design of the uniform. That specific day, I think the senior high school had an early dismissal, since there were so many students lining up or crowding up the main gate, waiting for them to be allowed by the guards to leave. The time was still 10 to 10:30ish. Mind you, teenagers nowadays are so tall and basically look like adults already. I was 23 at the time, but I was quite skinny and kinda average in height and baby-faced, especially when I had a shaven moustache and beard, which I did at the time. So as I approached the main gates, I leaned on the scanner to have my ID scanned so that the automatic doors would open. But a female guard stopped me and said, "You're not allowed to go out yet. It's still 10. I replied, "But I'm a college student. If you step back or I'm going to confiscate your ID and give it to the prefect's office." "But mom, if you look closely, step back or I'm going to confiscate your ID." So apparently she thought I was a senior high school student. I keep saying that I'm a college student, just look at my ID, it states there that I'm a second year BScs computer science student. But she wouldn't listen, or maybe she can't hear, probably because it was quite noisy at the time with all those students talking. So I just gave up, and I was going to go and try the backdoor gate, when all of a sudden I see my teacher on my major subject walking towards the gate, so I ask him to tell the guard to let me out, since I'm not a senior high school student. My teacher says to the guard, Why didn't you allow the student to go out? I am told that we would only allow senior high school students to go out at 11 AM. But he is not a senior high school student. Look at his ID. I gave the ID finally to the guard and she was embarrassed. Well, why didn't you say so? At that point, it was exhausting to argue. Finally, I got out. I know she was only doing her job, but it was still quite annoying since I hadn't had breakfast at that time and I was famished. Ever since then, every morning, whenever she is assigned at the main gate, I see to it that I wave at her and always remind her that I'm not a senior high school student, to the point of being annoying. Well, OP, I would argue that that is a little bit uncalled for, if I'm being completely honest. As you say, she literally was just doing her job, and you've told us why she may not have been able to hear you because obviously there are loads of school students around, and obviously doing her job like that, she can't, look at every single person who might be trying to sneak out, you who legitimately could have gone out. She can't be dealing with every single one of those people individually. So I guess maybe at that time, because it was so busy, she was just like, nah, and no one's going out. And to me, I can understand why she would do that, because it would take a lot of time to deal with every person, on their own. And she obviously wouldn't want to do that because, think about it, it'd be horrible. But yeah, I don't know. There's no need to, rub it in her face. Obviously, she realizes she's made a mistake in that situation. She's been embarrassed to her face by one of your teachers. And now you're waving at her every day saying, yeah, look, it's me, the person whose age you got wrong. There's no real need for that, In my opinion, just my opinion. Maybe other people would say, you know what, she made a mistake there. And yes, she deserves to, own up to it and well, not own up to it, but, be reminded of it. But that just seems a little bit harsh in my opinion, a little bit unnecessary. Again, guys, let me know what you think down below. Anyway, that is going to do it for this episode of r/OlderThanYouThinkIAm. This is one of the first videos I've done on this subreddit in a long time, so if you want to see more right away, perhaps you're newer to my channel and you haven't been acquainted with this subreddit before, I have a playlist right here full of all my Older Than You Think I Am videos if you want to go and binge watch them all. If you are new to my channel, of course, remember to subscribe because I'm trying to hit 600,000 by the end of 2020 and there's only about 5 days left before the end of the year, so it's going to be very, very tough to get there, but I back us as a collective, yeah? And also, if you'd like some merch just to wear, that's normally what merch is for, then that's down here as well. Alright guys, see you in a bit.